happen in boardrooms. They happen when people step away from their roles, move together, embrace challenges, and connect as human beings rather than job titles. So that's why we created live experiences. Everybody is joining now in the middle of an introduction. That's why we created live experiences across Europe, bringing together founders, executives, and investors to build the kind of trust that usually takes years to develop in just a few days. Our monthly fireside chats are where the journey begins. They are an opportunity for us to explore ideas, stories, and experiences behind remarkable people. Through open and honest conversations, we dive into topics such as leadership, resilience, trust, performance, and the moments that shape who we become. Whether you join us online or on a trail, our goal is the same, to create conversations that lead to genuine human connection. So let's get this started, because today I'm very, very excited. As usual, one more coming here. Sonia, I think Sonia is from the US. Sonia Williams. Yeah, your friend Laverne. Today we are joined by someone whose story is about far more than speed. Laverne Jones-Ferrette, let me get here, is a four-time Olympian. I don't know if you ever realize what a four-time Olympian is all about, because every Olympic cycle is 4 years. So just in Olympic Games, she's been 16 years doing this, just to train for the race. Imagine the whole life before, after. It's just, Laverne, you are like a gun. You are so good. National record holder and one of the most accomplished athletes to represent the US Virgin Islands on the world stage. But behind every race, measured in fractions of a second, is a journey measured in resilience. Throughout her career, Laverne has experienced the extraordinary highs of competing at the Olympic Games and the immense pressure of representing an entire nation. So today's conversation is not about the medals or the finish lines. It's about pressure. Just before we started this fireside chat, we were trying to make Laverne's camera work, and we just made it 30 seconds before. So to keep on the topic of pressure and time, Laverne, welcome. Welcome to Rekonnekt Fireside Chat. And I just cannot wait to hear your story. Let me put you on the spotlight here so people can see you very easily. Just give me 1 second. Here we go. Here it is, you little legend. So Laverne, let's get this started. So my first question to you, which is gonna, develop our conversation here, is who is Laverne and why sprinting?
Well, I'm a humble, quiet, reserved person. I started track late in my years. I started track in 11th grade. Some people start in elementary, some people start in middle school. I started as a junior in 11th grade. Yeah, so I did it, to be honest, and this conversation is about honesty, being open. I just ran track because I wanted to stay out. I did not want to go home, right? I wanted an after school activity. My brother, he ran track. We did go different high schools, but I just wanted to, let me try track and field to see how it goes, because I don't want to go home after school. I don't want to do homework. I just want to do something. So yeah, that's how I got started, and that's who I am, a humble, quiet person, So not quite an introvert, but just like to
But
keep to myself.
that's a very interesting point, because when we watch sprinting on TV, right? So the 100 and 200 meters on the track, we often see athletes that actually look the opposite of that. They look very loud, like especially the females, like they are all like with the hair and the makeup, and they're like with the nails and full on and loud and present. So how did you do that then, being such a humble, quiet person, like in a world that looks very, yes, loud?
Yeah, well, support. The support I had, especially at the time, my boyfriend, now husband, He ran track in high school, but then he said, he saw I came home for the summer, and then he saw, well, you have talent. I said, oh, I never knew I could track running. You could tour the world and make money and get shoe contract. So that support that I got from, now my husband, that what got me into track and field seriously. But on the line, being loud, it took some training. As I said, it took time to develop mentally. Oh, I'm going against different personalities, different speeds. So that's something I just had to learn as I go along in college and on the professional scene.
Yes. Now here, Chris is saying on the chat, by the way, if anybody wants to send questions throughout the fireside chat, you just put it there or just put your hands up and then you ask the questions directly to her, because that's the purpose of the fireside chat. He's put in here, an alter ego. Have you got a track persona?
It is so funny. I just asked my husband yesterday. I said, if my alter ego, what name would you give me? And then I said, when I was on the line, my thing was transformer. You have to transform. So I would say Shira. Shira, the from yeah, the
Yeah,
He-Man.
that's
Yeah.
and Laverne, that's such an interesting thing, because I think that the alter ego, it's something that works not just in sport, right? It works in so many different areas. Business, definitely, right? If you are an introvert person and you have to do a presentation and you have to become an extrovert there, so suddenly you have to be in front of hundreds, thousands of people, right? So this is something. This is the beautiful thing about sport, and all the other things that we do in our life that translates so well. Is your Shira mode. Were you using anything, or were you wearing something different? Like how did you do this mindset shift when you were in the track?
Well, I just thought of the movie, and then I thought of my training. Um, that's all I did when I transform is trust your training, trust the coach, trust that you're strong enough, you're technical enough to get through these races.
That's awesome. And let me ask you a question. How do you go from just going on the track and running to then deciding, okay, I want to run the fastest race in the world, like 100 meters? Like how do you go from just doing, like, knowing that this is where you want to go? Where which point of your career or your training that you said, okay, I actually can be a very good sprinter?
And my senior year in college, that's when I realized, okay, I have the ability to go further. That's when I realized I could do something in track and field because I was one of the fastest on my team. I was team captain. I trained hard. I was focused. So I realized, oh, I could do this. I could make this go further than why I anticipated it to be.
And how was your first Olympic cycle? Like, I think that's, yeah. How was your first Olympic cycle? Like, to get to your first
Scary,
Olympics?
very scary. Because going from collegiate competition, you have a long season throughout college. And then when I found out I qualified for the 2004, my first Olympics, I was happy. I was scared because, as I said, I had a long season, still understanding the sport, transitioning from collegiate to the world stage. When I got to my first Olympics, of course, I was a nervous wreck because I'm going against ladies who are their profession, the Gail Devers, the Marion Jones, all other great athletes, and I was just there and I said, just do your best. And that's all I could do. And that's when the door just opened up and I said, okay, I could I could really, really do this now.
So your first
I'm
Olympics was
sorry,
what,
the screen
2000
went blank. The screen went blank for a minute, but you guys could still see and hear me, correct?
I could. Yes. Everybody could.
Okay.
Put thumbs up. I'm seeing half. Yeah. Oh, good. Laverne, tell me something. When you went to the first Olympics, so which one was the first one? 2004, right?
Yes, Athens, Greece.
Athens, Greece, yeah. So for you to get there in an overall scene, like in terms of how did you get support from the Virgin Islands? Like how was the community, the country altogether in taking in supporting you there? How did you feel about it, and how was that for you for your first
I had,
Olympics?
yeah, I had great support. It was great support. Of course, being from my culture, my parents, they didn't understand it really, but I didn't quite have that support from my parents because they didn't understand it. But the Federation, Virgin Islands Track and Field Federation, they supported me throughout my whole career. It was a good support. It was real good. I have nothing, you know, bad to
To
say
complain?
about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, but in terms of how did you feel when you went to your first Olympics, the pressure of the people that you left behind, right? So the expectations, the all the after all the training that you did you arrive to Athens like, okay, that's my first Olympics, whatever happens, or did you arrive there like feeling that pressure?
Both. It was both that feeling of, oh wow, I'm actually at the Olympics, and then the pressure of performing as well as I did in my collegiate races, right? But it's a whole different caliber of athletes at the Olympics. So I just went in and did my best, did what I was supposed to do, go there because, as I said, it was a long collegiate season, and as an athlete, we run every race. The coaches make us run all events, so you're a little more tired than the athletes who train just for the Olympics. So I just went in. Hey, I'm about whatever happens, and I'm about to do my best racing. And then I had one situation, and my husband, he was like, what was that you did at the line? So in my lane, I had seen a grasshopper, and it was green. So I picked it up. I said, oh, green grasshopper, that's good luck. I picked it up and stuffed it. Yeah, so yeah, that's the mindset or that distraction. I needed that distraction. Yeah,
Very,
but it was
very.
funny. After the fact, it was funny. We were just laughing at it.
That is awesome. I have here two comments. One from Chris saying, I love how you got to the Olympics before you believed it. And the second one is, did you have an idol athlete who inspired you throughout your career?
Actually, I didn't. I did not have an idol athlete or no
Just
one to
Shira.
like a mentor. Yeah,
Just Shira.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Shira was
Oh, the
your
Transformer. Well, I
what a
didn't know her.
transformer.
Yeah,
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 absolutely. So,
yeah.
in terms of expectations, okay, so first Olympic Games is done. You see the grasshopper, you saw the distraction that worked for you. So, what did you learn after your first Olympic game that you brought to your next, three experiences? Like how did it compound it over your career? Can you kind of drive us through your journey through the following Olympic Games?
Yeah, so the first one, it was okay, had a full collegiate season, graduated, got a shoe contract. My first shoe contract was with Adidas. So now I know, okay, I'm getting paid to perform now. Took it serious. I started off with my collegiate coach, but unfortunately, he couldn't continue coaching me, so I had to find a new coach who coaches professional athletes. And it so happened my husband lived in Houston. I found someone through recommendation, a coach in Houston. So I moved from Oklahoma to Houston to get professional training. And that's where it started. I graduated and then ended up on the circuit, on the professional circuit. And that's where I said, well, this is something that my profession, this is my career. So trained hard. Of course, I had some little humps and bumps throughout the road, but being on the circuit, traveling the world, led me to the other Olympics where I performed well. And as I said, this is the Olympics, the high tier of the sports. Once you reach the Olympics, you compete against the best in the world. So my second Olympics um, did pretty well. Not as well as I wanted to do, but it was okay. And then my in 2010 indoor, that's where it all was coming together. Training came together. I'm getting faster, getting stronger, trusting the process, trusting the training. And that's where I ran my sixth fastest time indoor. And then as the years go by, oh, I'm getting older. Family, I want a baby. Okay. So was trying, nothing happened, but then um I got tested. I needed a little help, but then that help caused me to get served like a 6-month ban because apparently that drug men
Tested
use it to
positive.
cover, yes, to cover things up. But I was saying that's okay, so that was 10. I'm moving a little forward. So 4, then 2008, and then performed well after 2008, running my best. And then as I was getting older, I said, oh, I want my family, move forward, give birth, ran my sixth fastest time in 2010, give birth in 2011, and then had to train, sacrifice again. Um, and then I came back in 2012 and ran a personal best at my third Olympics. Yes. So
Wow.
it was a journey. It was a
It
journey.
is so okay. So doing four Olympic games for who doesn't have babies is already hard.
Yes.
So running, doing other two Olympics after having a baby, that's remarkable. Like
Yes.
this is something that yeah, this is goes to the next level. How did you manage the baby thing with you having to train and the sacrifices? Because then the sacrifices become on both sides, right? It's no longer just you doing for yourself. You have now a family, right, that you are responsible for. So how did you deal with that? How was yeah, how did you do it?
Well,
You I
after
did you
I ran,
didn't like I did.
well, after I had ran my sixth fastest time indoor, they had a big celebration for me. And then that's when, as I said, after when I got pregnant, I had to continue training. So I did, of course, under good management. I worked out, trained carefully. Then when I gave birth, it was like, oh my gosh, they think I can't come back. Now I'm out to prove something, right? You're out to prove, oh, I could still run fast, even though, I served a 6-month ban. I ran this sixth fastest time. So it was okay, let me train smart, hard, but smart. And that's where I came back and ran. I missed the final at the 2012 Olympics by one spot. So I got ninth overall in the 200, and it hurt. It hurt so bad. So, but I did run my personal best at the Olympics in the 100 and the 200. So perspective, right? I ran my
Yes.
national record. I didn't make the final, but my husband being there and my biggest cheerleader, my biggest support, he was like, Laverne, why you cry? Because I did cry, right? I boo,
Yeah, of
boo,
course
and
it did. Yeah.
yes. So he was like, Laverne, why are you crying? I said, I missed the final by one spot. So he said, you just realized you ran your fastest personal best at the Olympics. You got ninth overall throughout all these other athletes. There's only 3 medals given away. That's part of the sport. And I was like, you, you actually, you right. And I felt so much better. And I got to enjoy the rest of, the Olympics, watching other athletes perform, seeing other athletes got disappointed. So I was like, it was good. It was great. Great experience.
It's part of the journey. On that note, I'm
Part
going to
of it.
go through the questions here because we have many. There is one here from Anu that she asks you, which is very relevant to what you just spoke, by the way. Did the people who you were surrounded with at your track team have similar ambitions to make it to the Olympics?
Of course, yes. Yes. That's every athlete's ambition, is to make it on that higher tier in their sport, in their respective sport. Everybody wants to have that Olympic title because, as I said, that's the highest tier of competition in sport, where the best of the best from each country represent their country. Yeah, so it was good.
That's awesome. Yeah, you have to have people in the same in the same
Yeah,
ambitions that you. Otherwise, it becomes like you are rowing against the current, right? It's too deep. It's already hard. You just make it harder, isn't it?
correct, correct.
Chris is asking here, did you ever experience imposter syndrome and how did you navigate it?
Imposter syndrome. I haven't, because I had a small circle, right, of training companions, training buddies. So we all were on the same page. We were, training to get on the circuit to make that Olympic team or world championship team. So you have the world championship team. In the Caribbean, you have CAC games, Caribbean, Central American Caribbean games. So you have different tiers of competition. You have world indoor, you have CACs, you have world championships, you have Olympics, you have diamond leagues. So there's all kind of different tiers of competition. So that syndrome, it didn't apply. It didn't really apply.
It's yeah, it's all about the again, go back into the group of people you are surrounded with. Like everybody was in the high. It's almost something that you don't even know about it or you don't experience, or maybe not as much. Here's another one from Mateo. He's asking, sorry, from Bea. Was there ever a moment when you seriously doubted yourself? That's a good one to follow the imposter syndrome on. And what helped you to keep you going?
Oh, definitely. The one, well, you have several times when you doubt yourself. I've been through injury, and that's where the biggest questioning come in. When you get injured, you want to rush back to health so you could get back on track. And you don't feel 100%. You always questioning yourself, asking, well, do I want this injury to reoccur? So you're very precautious of, your training, because you don't want to go all out, because you don't want to re-injure yourself, but yet you have to push your body to that level so you get comfortable with, oh, your body is fine. And that's one of my biggest, where I question myself when I got injured. A next biggest one was world indoor, when I was coming back from having my baby, running the sixth fastest time, and I false started. That was a big doubt for myself, because in track and field, once you false start, you're out. One false start, you're out. And coming in as one of the top athletes, and that happened, of course, that left a lot of self-doubt within my track career. So, but as I said, I saw a sports psychologist. That's where mental health in sports come in, right? Pressure, once again. You say, okay, fall started. How would I do outdoor now? How would I perform outdoor? So I had to, speak it out and overcome that mental part,
That's
which I
awesome.
did.
Do you I can see, well, we went to two Olympic Games after, right? So um you have to work definitely on your mindset. There is so many questions here. I'm gonna go through all of them then. So what did
Okay.
your training week look like in preparation of a big event?
Uh, well, it looked like, it's called tapering, where it's more of quality versus quantity. So the quality of training, it's all right, you hit it hard, you get full recovery. So the training is shorter, it's sharper, and then we go from there because in the sport, once again, rest is best. Recovery is very vital leading up to a big competition because throughout the off season, you train hard, you push in your body, you really soar the first month of when you start training, but you still have to wake up and go through your training sessions, but carefully. So leading
And
up, go ahead.
and how is the opposite? So how it would look like in like a worse, like a very hard week for you? How it would look like for you? Like you arrive, how would you do that with a baby coming back home?
Yeah, so we did some days we did twice a day where we wake up. I had to wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, be ready to go at 6. So that was the running part aspect. So we ran in the morning and then rest and then come back in the evening and do our strength training. Strength training. So that's a Monday, for example. So we would have repetitive runs, 2 sets of like 3,000 meters, but it's broken down in sprint form, right? So you have, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the distance of a track. So we'll do 10 400s, but 2 sets. So we ended up doing 20 to 6,400 meters. And our training takes 3 hours a day.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's, and then Wednesdays will be our recovery act. We call it active recovery day, where we might do a pool workout, uh, just run on the grass barefoot, go through drills, stretches, abs, etc. So that was our recovery day. And then the Thursday, hit it again. Friday, hit it again. Weekends depend on, how you feel. We might do a Saturday training. Yeah.
Very good. And what was your mindset after the baby?
To get back on track, get back running fast.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that
even
was
your motivation, I suppose your motivation also changed, like you have something to run for.
correct, correct, correct. And then I'll bring my daughter out. And then of course I was breastfeeding at the time. So I said I wanted to give her that, that good breast milk from my body. So I would breastfeed her after practice. Of course, I'm at practice. Sometimes it's leaking out. I don't know if that's too much info, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I would have to stop and then, okay, let me breastfeed her real quick and then get back to training. But one of the hardest thing was stopping when I had to, have the milk dry out because when I go to Europe. So that was hard. That was real hard because it hurt.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. What advice would you give to a young athlete who feels overwhelmed by pressure before competitions?
Just trust one, and I tell myself this, trust your training, relax, have fun. Just have fun. Once you trust your training, your coach, your fitness, and I coach right now. I said trust your strength. Have fun. I know it's hard. It's easier said than done. But me being there, I always let them know, don't put too much pressure on yourself because you end up running someone else's race or you try to push yourself too hard and then you mess up your tumble, you mess up your race pattern. So just try to relax, breathe, have fun with it. Whatever you do in practice, just emulate it and you'll be fine.
Yeah, the preparation is such an important component in this time, right? Is where you have to trust, is the process, right? It's the
Correct,
hardest part,
correct.
right? But it's the
And
process.
correct. And if adjustment needs to be made, then throughout the season or for your race, that's where your coach will come in, and you have to I tell them, I let at least the advice also, don't be scared to be transparent with your coach, because they don't know what's going on with you. I might be feeling sick, something is off, so you communicate with the coach and say, well, I don't feel good today, and things could be adjusted.
Very good. Could you, another one here for you from Andre. Could you describe how your routine was during an Olympic cycle? So I think you kind of responded on the other one, but was there anything that you were doing, especially during the Olympics? That was, how was that
So
routine for you?
leading up to Olympics or at the Olympics?
Well, I think what's during an Olympic cycle, so in between the, let's say in between the two Olympics, how was, so did you, after you finished Olympic Games, what did you do after? Like, did you have some rest? Like, because you have to qualify to the next one, or do you qualify during the previous Olympic Games, depending on your qualification? How does it work in track?
Right. So the Olympics, the 4-year cycle, in between, as I mentioned earlier, you have different tiers of competition. So after the Olympics, there will be World Indoor that we prepare for. But after Olympics, we take about a month of rest, doing nothing. And then we prepare for the next level of competition that might be happening within that year. So it might be World Indoor, World Outdoor Championship. For some athletes, they do Diamond League meets. They do Diamond Leagues. That's a circuit meet. And then fortunately for me, I did not have a team trial. I did not have team trials. So we go based off of just the time we qualify time wise for the Olympics. But from other big countries, you have national qualification for the Olympics, the Olympic trials. So they prepare for that. But in between each cycle, as I said, you have World Outdoor Championship, World Indoor Championship. You have the Diamond League, and then you have other different competition that you compete with leading up to the next Olympics.
Yeah. So just so I understand, so you were representing the Virgin Islands, but you were training in the US?
Correct.
Ah,
Yes.
okay. Yes, in Houston, always in Houston?
Yes.
Yes. Here from Manuela, how did you deal with the pressure of other people's expectations as your career progressed?
Oh, I didn't study other people. I did not take on other people. I know expectation because I have my own expectation, and I know the time I need to run to make to make the final, or to qualify for the Olympics. And people will always see something that you might think that, oh, I think you could run this time, but you only known for your last race, and your body might not be able to go there. And you try to press, and then you end up getting injured because you try to meet someone else's expectation instead of just humbling and say, you know what? Let me perform, and when it comes, it comes. If it don't come, well, let's let's try more, let's make adjustments, let's see what happened. But sometimes you push too hard, or you uh not rely, but you think of other people's expectations, and then you push yourself too hard, and then you end up just going backwards instead of going forward.
Yeah, I think that there is a component as well, also sharing this with Manuela, is that these days also we have social media, which at that time it wasn't as popular, or we didn't have that. Reason why
Correct.
you weren't so exposed, like you could shut yourself down much easier, right? from the
Right.
external world. And these days that people can have opinion for everything. You post something and there is opinions everywhere, and
Yes.
likes and hates and all these things, right? So I suppose that how would you manage, would you think that how would you manage that type of, to push back this pressure if you were doing these days with social media and all these things? How would you think you would do that, what you did that time now?
With social media,
Yes.
well, I would just stay off of it, have someone else manage it. That's it. You just go, don't be on it because everyone has an opinion. You have the naysayers, you have the positive, you have the negative. So I would just stay off of it. And that's my problem now. I social media wise, I don't be on social media.
You
I'm
can
not.
recap that. It will be awesome. Just the pictures that I saw from you is just so amazing. Here from Emma, how did you adapt to life after being a professional runner? Did you feel you had to reinvent yourself?
After being a professional runner, I yes, because the lifestyle, being a professional runner, the lifestyle that I lived out of a suitcase, right? I always on a plane or backpacking on just back and forth, traveling. So when that stopped, it was okay, transition into the real world now, right? So the transition was just my expertise, my knowledge of the sport. Let me share it with other athletes, and I doing it now through training and coaching.
Yes. Did you think, here from Sonia, did you think your sponsors from the shoe company worth it and help with all your expenses? How was your relationship with them? Was
Oh,
it
it was
worth it?
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
They say in track and field, it's one of the least paying sport. I know you guys heard of it through, I mean, probably through other professional athletes, that track and field is one of the hardest sport, but one of the least paying sport. So how we make our money is through shoe sponsorship, appearance fee, prize money, and that sort. So when I was competing, we wasn't allowed to put sponsors on our uniform. So having a shoe contract, because training as a professional athlete, it is expensive because you pay in everyone. And correlation with business, I'm paying a coach, I'm paying a physio, um, I'm paying for mental health, um, everything. It's you paying for everything to keep your body in tune. So having that shoe sponsorship, yeah, that came in real handy. Also, my country training grants. So we get training grants to help us train throughout our season. So that helped a lot also.
Yeah. Here from Bia, if you could go back and talk to your younger self before your first major competition, what would you say?
Uh, just take it stride by stride. Have fun. Don't put too much pressure on yourself.
Here from Renata, what do you do to stay mentally strong? You mentioned that you've learned not to put so much pressure on yourself. So how did you get to this point? And did your coach, mentor, or your parents help you shape your mindset? And finally, there is a last one here, but I will ask you after about breathing. That's very interesting about anxiety.
So my mindset was just stay focused, right? Support wise, family. It was a lot of questions as well, but
Yeah.
as I said, my family, it wasn't a big support from my family. all the support, to be honest, as I said, came from my husband and then my coach. So I ain't had that big community of, and then the federation, my track and field federation. So I did not have that big support um, throughout my track career. Seeing a sports psychologist, that helped also, but just as I went along, staying sane and listening to music. So that's my big thing, music, certain type of music that what got kept me relaxed.
Laverne, just giving I will ask a second question here from Renata, but before that, just giving a step back, something came to my mind. When you were in the Virgin Islands and you decided to start to run, to get out of your house, you were not happy there. Was also your mindset shaped by anger? Like, were you angry? Like you wanted to get out of that and that motivated you to keep going?
No, it was just fun. Just home was boring. So yeah, being home was boring. So I just wanted to, yeah, have fun, do something
To
after.
run,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah. Because
That's it.
my brother was running. So it wasn't no, oh, abused home or, those sort of things. I didn't want to be home. I just wanted to experience doing an after school activity.
Yeah. Also, do you use any breathing techniques to help with anxiety?
Yes, yes. So I did do yoga. I did Pilates, uh, seeing a sports psychologist, talking to my husband. On my, if I have a bad practice, I have someone to talk to, have someone to vent with, and say, "Oh, this hurt, that hurt." So that was how I dealt with anxiety or stress of performing.
Yoga, for example, how many times a week were you practicing when you were training? Or do you practice to the moment, to now? Yoga?
Not, no, I don't practice. I don't practice. I practice breathing. I still do my breathing exercises. Um, I do. I don't do yoga as much, but I do with some of my kids when I coaching or something. I'll joke with them and say, "Listen, if I beat you, you're not ready." And I have not been training like how you've been training. So that's how I, keep my fitness up and stretching. I stretch with them. I stretch at home. And then my daughter now, she is running track. So I tell her, when you get home, stretch. She said, "Mom, you telling me to stretch? You don't stretch." I said, "Okay."
I used to stretch. Chris is saying here, so I should make my house boring so my daughter trains more. So that's the trick. Laverne, I want to bring you back to a moment like when you were um, on your 200-meter start line in the Olympic Games, just before you got your fastest personal time. And you were there, you did your warm up, you got to the track, right, doing a visualization. I am actually visualizing you doing it. You got there, you got in position. Then next to you, there are two people that you know is going to run. How fast did you run 200 meters? Is how many seconds were there? Or was what? How many seconds? How was your
About
personal
22.
best?
It's 22. My personal best is 22:46. But, yeah.
22 seconds. It's pretty much if I do just this,
Yeah.
done. So you have to literally power yourself up. You have to put all that training, that energy, all the things back into your maximum and just blast into those 22 seconds. What were going through your mind, woman?
To be, and that's a lot. That's a question I've been asked. But when you're running, right, your brain goes blank. And because leading up to it, 4 to 6 months into it, is your body is on autopilot because we training when you're on the circuit. So on the line, your body is in autopilot. It's like you just see black and you're running. So as loud as the stadium is, you can't hear nothing. I can't hear anything. So someone could be shouting from the lungs, "Go, Laverne!" But you can't. It just blank. Is your body is trained. So when it's on the line, you're not thinking. It's just doing what it's been trained to do.
That's absolutely awesome. And would you think that this translates to anything else that you do, like the amount of training preparation that you do for something, you just go in the same blank as to something else, as to go to a presentation, to a meeting, to a decision that you have to make? Like, would you would you say that in other areas of your life you apply the same concepts?
Um, Yeah, because it takes planning, right? Once you have that orientation, like leading up to this interview, you have the questions, and I want it to be as organic as possible, right? So you're thinking, you're planning, and once that day come, is oh, I've been rehearsing this or planning this, so it will just fall into place. Of course, it might have a little hiccup, but how you adjust to that hiccup or that malfunction makes everything matters. So if I panic, then you're a nervous wreck. You start in a race. I'm going to apply this example to a race. If I panic, I tighten up. I start to tighten up. I'm restricting my movement, and it's making me slower instead of just adjusting to what the situation might be and let your body do what it's trained to do, and it will flow and you run faster, because I have run my fastest races being composed and relaxed.
So this achieving this flow, right, that you are talking about, it's something that of course demands a lot of training, um, but also demands a lot of um, yeah, like conscious training of, okay, I need to be in flow just to don't hear anything, don't do anything. During this training, let's put it this way, were you consciously thinking about getting into this state, or just your natural training got you there? Like, how, was there anything that you were doing or exercising that made it different?
You go into that state naturally. So consciously, you're saying to yourself, okay, I train hard. And then sometimes your body's so used to that training. I mean, the training is so competitive. I'm not competitive. It's so repetitive that even if something happened, your body knows what to do. And that's what that training is for, that consistency. So once it's consistent, you're your own enemy. So if you make a big hiccup, it's on you mentally wise.
So tell us what you're doing now, and how are you applying all this experience into your current work?
So right now, I'm personal training and coaching track and field. That's what I'm doing now. And then I coach all kind of athletes who do different sport, basketball, soccer, gymnastics, cheerleading, skiing. Yeah. So just athletes who want to make it on that next level or just try a sport. That's what I'm doing right now.
So when you are training people now in the track and field and personal training, what is something that you see them doing that like a pattern of these people that your experience makes the whole difference?
What I see with the younger athletes is um, they get disappointed really fast. So if they don't perform well first race, they get hysterical. They're, oh my gosh, what? I said, no, no, it's okay. This is just your first race. Just relax, trust the process. And I let them know, don't worry about your first race or your second race. The goal is how you perform at at that finale, that big competition, that championship, that national Olympics. So a lot of people pay attention to the race. They do really well at the small events leading up to a big race. And then when they get to the big race, they don't perform as well as they did at the other races. So because they put pressure on themselves, they feel they need to perform um, very well, but that performance took place when they were more relaxed in a more subtle environment, not as competitive. But then when the big races come, they put too much pressure on themselves and then they don't perform well. So I let them know if they do really well at their first, second meet, use that same energy towards the championship or the nationals, and they will be fine. Just trust the training, trust the process, trust themselves.
Yeah. Here is a question from Bia. How has coaching changed the way you think about pressure?
How coaching
You co
changed?
how
How co-
coaching changed. So how you being a coach now changed the way you think about pressure, because you were the one in the pressure mode. Now you are the one external helping the athletes, right? So how that changed the way you think about it?
oh, I mean, pressure will always be there, right? You will always put pressure on yourself because you, going back to earlier mentioning how you deal with pressure and other people's expectation, pressure will be there, but I don't let it succumb me as an individual. I manifest the pressure into positive energy, right? So we have this saying where we grew up, pressure bust pipe, right? Pressure bust pipe. So how dealing with the pressure, I just move it, just adjust to it. And that's where my breathing exercises come in. That's where you say, okay, I know anxiety, I'm feeling all this tension, how I deal with it. You could either turn it into a positive or turn it into a negative. So that pressure, I turn it into a positive to where you stay relaxed, you breathe, and if you have that good support, you let them know I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling nervous, and they will help calm you down. One athlete, this one male athlete, this Jamaican athlete, he was running real well on the circuit, and when it came to the championship, he would not perform. He would be coming first place in his heat, reach the final, seventh place, sixth place. But then he realized, oh my gosh, this is me. It's a mental thing. So he had his sports psychologist travel with him and he won the last world championship. And he expressed that, hey, I had my therapist with me and he helped me throughout this race. So it's who you have around you to help you deal with that pressure.
Yeah. What qualities do you look for in an athlete that have nothing to do with talent?
Work ethic. That's what I look for, work ethic, because you have the athletes that's talented, but then they become arrogant or cocky. But if I see an athlete that's, not as talented and they work really hard, because some athletes think, oh, I'm naturally fast. They don't have to put in the work. But I love working with the athlete that is not as talented, but they work really hard and I see the improvement within time and as they race.
Work ethic. This is for everything, isn't it? This is not just for sport, it's for anything that we do. Work ethic, it's
Anything.
such a strong, is a strong thing. What advice would you give to parents who want to support a young athlete without adding extra pressure?
The advice I would say just su- support them, listen to them. When they feel, if they say, well, Ma, I'm tired today. Take it with a grain of salt. Listen and say, okay, you're tired today, rest today. And once again, that pressure, don't pressure them into performing well. Because in sports world, you always have someone who's better than you. And that's the reality of it. You always have an athlete who is better. And that's life itself, I think. Something that I can do, someone else might not be able to do it. And they try, but it's not for me, right? So just support them, listen to them, and that's that's the simplest advice I would give, because I have my daughter, she is running track.
I
And
was just gonna ask that. Yeah.
so I went to her I went to one of her practices, and apparently the coach, I did not like their training method. I was, what is this? What is this? And I said, I want to come out. And she's like, no, ma, no, no, no. So I just stepped back and, let her trust the coach's training and go from there.
How old is your daughter, Laverne?
She's 15.
15. Well,
Yeah.
that's a lot of pressure to handle in terms of, having her mother have done so much in the track and field. And that's how do you help her with this, in navigating this? Because probably it's not about your pressure, it's about people, probably, especially these days, kids are so nasty with each other.
Yeah.
Isn't it? They
Yeah.
must put her on the spotlight there, doesn't they?
Well, they don't really know because we don't, talk. She don't say, oh, my mom is an Olympian or
Did this.
anything. Yeah, so they don't know, but she came to a realization that the type of training that and dedication that you need will make you a better athlete. So she trusts my training and my advice
Well, she
now.
definitely has a great mentor. Laverne, can you believe 1 hour is already flied by? And I
I
have one last
know.
question. No, it's crazy.
Okay.
It's so quick. I could stay here for another hour easy. Um, what practical advice would you give for someone who is facing a high pressure moment and worries that they might not be enough?
Hmm. Well, the advice I would give now is life is short. We don't know the day we're gonna go, because I battle a health crisis. So I say take it one day at a time. That's my mom famous quote. Take it one day at a time, enjoy the moment, and you will have the pressure, deal with it, cry it out, shout it out, throw something, and then come back to reality and readjust, or talk to someone. And that's the advice I would give.
That's very good. Actually, I think I have one last question for you, Laverne, before we go, which is, can you bring to your memory now a moment that was really tough for you, like that you thought it maybe would be a moment that you say, you know what, if this moment ever happened in your life, of you saying, I don't want to run anymore, like that's it, it's over, and then if that moment ever happened, how did you turn that around in something strong, like in strength, right? In saying, right, actually, nah, I'm gonna keep going.
um, that one moment was, I mentioned earlier, that fall start. That fall start was that moment I said, okay, I don't know if I could do this, because I'm my worst enemy. So that was that moment. And then talking to someone got me back on track and said, no, why you making one mishap um defeat your whole career? You're talented, you reach so far. it's okay. It's okay that happened. And then when I see other athletes, hearing them speak on their misfortune in what happened to them in one of their competition or one of their biggest, I said, oh, this is life. Things happen, but it's how you deal with it. So that's one of my biggest moments that I was down and then coming back and running my personal best after giving birth at my third Olympics. That was that moment.
That's absolutely amazing. Laverne, thank you so much for your time, for inspiring us in all different ways. I think we learn a lot about pressure. I think it's so much about focusing in what you're doing and keeping the good work that you are doing and trusting that process, isn't it? That's what I can hear from this conversation, that the repetition of and training and getting into the state of flow and being prepared, right? Not going to a big event or to anything that is so important to you unprepared. This is just the how to say, the recipe for failure. But if you do the opposite, do the homeworks, and off we go, you just gonna get in the state of flow. Let me read you some of the thanks here. There's some people saying, thank you, everyone. Amazing session. Thank you. So inspiring. You're not reading that. Thank you for sharing your incredible journey in athletics. Your story of perseverance, resilience, and achievement was truly inspiring and undoubtedly motivated all of us. Congratulations on your remarkable journey. And thank you so much for excellent presentation.
Thank
Laverne,
you.
that was super special. Thank you so much for everybody that was here. We have a next fireside chat next month. I'll definitely be in touch. And Laverne, thanks so much again. Have a fantastic day, everyone. And I will
Thank
post the
you.
recordings and send you some snapshots after.
Thank you. And I'm hoping to see other people's journey and hear other people's stories on Reconnect.
That's awesome. You're definitely in the community now.
Yes. And
Thank you
I'm
so
hoping
much,
to.
Laverne.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye bye.